Ed, did you get Frank's introduction? Let me introduce you. Let me introduce Frank.
Oh.
Hello, TNT Toastmasters. It is my privilege today to introduce the person who knows more about pathways than anybody in Toastmasters International. And if you think differently, just ask me. I can tell you for 1,000 reasons why I say that. And so he's here through the magic of Zoom today to train us, the members of TNT, on pathways. And it's my pleasure to introduce someone with whom I've been a close friend for 30 years now. Gosh, that's a long time. As a matter of fact, so close that he and his wife got married in my house. So that tells you that's pretty close. Having said that, Frank is known internationally for all of his work he does as it relates to Toastmasters. He simplifies the complicated and he shares things so that people can understand them much easier, and he makes things better. So it is my privilege to introduce you all the way from Linthicum, Maryland, distinguished Toastmaster Frank Story.
Thank you, Pauline, fellow Toastmasters from TNT. Even after 25 years after we were married in Pauline's house, we're still friends with her. So that says a lot. So I want to welcome everyone. I used to live in Fort Worth, Texas, in the old District 25. Most of you don't know it even existed before. You guys split into 2 different districts, maybe, I don't know, 20 years ago. So I got my start in Fort Worth in a club called Singularly Speaking. You had to be single. And a lot of people loved the club so much, they got divorced and joined our club. Anyway, I'm going to be giving you a lot of information today on pathways. I've broken it down. My wife may join. She was at the doctor's. Now she's back. Normally she helps me. We'll see if she joins or not. But normally I would do the basic structure of pathways, and then we go live on the Toastmasters website, log into Basecamp, open your curriculum, launch a project, and let you see how it actually works. So let me share with you. Back in 2017, I did this website for pathways, and it's quite a few pages. I'll give you the link a little bit later. But when I do my training, I use this page like my handout or my agenda. Now, I don't read everything on it. It's too much information. But I pick out the highlights, and I'll send you this link, and you can review it at your leisure if you want to. I like to think of pathways by using 2 different analogies. One is attending college or university. And then the other one is what happens to you when you get out of college. So let me explain. Here are the 11 paths that are currently available in pathways. So this I would liken to the majors you get to choose if and when you go to university or when you went to university. And we have maybe a small selection compared to a university, but you do have 11 choices in which you can major in or choose your path that you want to go down. And most of you know some of them, if not all of them. Here they are. I'm not going to talk about all of them. They're all laid out identically. Once you get into Basecamp, every path follows the same path, you might say. But here are some of the paths: coaching, planning, motivational strategies, presentation mastery, and so on. Now, so that's the analogy to college or university. The analogy to once you get out of college and you get a job, every job you might get has its own set of vocabularies. I'm an electrical engineer by training. I worked 31 years in radar, and we had our own vocabulary that if you heard us talking, you wouldn't always know what we were talking about. It's the same if you're a financial planner like my wife, you're a doctor, a dentist, a carpenter, a plumber. You all have your own words that other people might know, but they might not. Same it is with pathways. So I'm going to go over the basic terminology that you need to know because you'll hear these terms all the time. First, I'm going to start with the assessment. This is an online interactive, not tutorial, but interactive page where you can go answer some questions and mark how you feel in different situations. And when you're done, maybe 25 questions or situations, it will recommend for you 3 different paths. You don't have to take them. It's just a recommendation. And you need to write those 3 paths down because it does not save it. When you go out of the assessment, all you have just done is lost. It doesn't save your responses. So if you forget which paths it recommends, you'll have to do the assessment over. We're going to show you an easier way to choose your path, maybe than the assessment. So what I don't like about the assessment, it just gives you 3 path choices. And then you have to go and just look at the names of the projects. You have no information about the projects, just the names. So it would be nice if you could see the entire project to know what it's about. And I have a page that lets you do that. The next term is base camp. Every club has so many members, 10, 20, 30, 40, whatever. Every one of those individual Toastmasters has an area on the Pathways website in Toastmasters that keeps track of everything you do in Pathways. That's called base camp. You can click on your base camp area. It shows you every path you've taken, where you are on the path, which projects you've done, everything like that. Okay, and then because there's so many different base camps in a club, individuals, there's someone who oversees each of the base camps. We call that person a base camp manager. Very clever name. Every club is pre-assigned 3 different base camp managers. You can't change this. It's assigned when your club elects officers. One of those people, unknowingly probably at the time, becomes the base camp manager. It's always the president, the vice president education, or the secretary. Your club can decide which one is going to be the main base camp manager. The others can be backup if that person is gone on vacation or traveling, if we can remember what that was like. One of those people can be the base camp manager, but it's typically the vice president education. Why? Because that's their role by definition, is to educate all the members. So naturally, they would be involved in managing the base camps, overseeing the base camps. You'll see a list there of other things they do. For example, approving speeches outside the club. Toastmasters is a lot more liberal in letting you give speeches outside the club, but it should be approved in advance by the base camp manager. Every time you finish a level, there's a button you click that's called level completion. We'll see that later. It sends an email to the base camp managers asking one of them to approve your level completions. So every time you finish a level, like level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5, you need approval to have it completed. There's also lots of charts and graphs. That's good for us engineers, and that's called in the area where they track the members. And there's a few paths that are in print. And so you can't do your level completions and your sign-offs, all that in Basecamp because you don't have a Basecamp if you have printed materials. So your Basecamp manager will help you with submitting the forms for if you're in the printed path. I personally don't recommend the printed path, A, because there's only a few choices, I think 3 or 4, and B, they pick all the projects for you, even the electives. You have very little choice in what you do, but you can choose it if you want. The next term you'll hear occasionally is the Navigator. It's an online tutorial that helps you navigate pathways and navigate the website and tells you about meeting roles and different things. It's interesting to visit that link, and either I or Karen will show it to you later, just to show you what it looks like. I should say at this point that there's a lot of links that you'll just click occasionally, or maybe not even at all. What I recommend is when you get bored, go into Toastmaster website, into Pathways, and click every link just to see what's there. Just get familiar with it, how it works. There's lots and lots of information, but it may be difficult to find. Now, the three terms you will hear at every meeting are these: paths, levels, and projects. I've already told you what the paths are. There's 7 unique paths. There's rumors that there's another one in the works, but that's been a rumor for over a year, so who knows? Currently, there's only 11. Levels. Every path is broken down into 5 levels. I don't care which path you choose, it has 5 levels. And the levels have a name describing how difficult or what part of the journey you're on. For example, level 1 is mastering the fundamentals. You would expect something like that. Basic projects in the mastering the fundamentals. Those include something like the Icebreaker, researching and presenting, and evaluation and feedback. So they're basic skills you're going to learn in level 1. Then you move to level 2, you're going to learn your style. 3, you're going to start increasing your knowledge in a particular path. Then you're going to build on your skills. And finally, on level 5, you will demonstrate expertise because you've done most of the projects. And now it's time for you to show the rest of us that you can do more difficult projects and that you've mastered, you're demonstrating what you've learned. The third term, projects. Every path has 5 levels. Every level has so many projects. You're going to look at that. Now, what is a project? Most people think it's just a speech, but that's not true. Most projects are speeches, but not all. So let's look. There's a project called active listening. And most people use the Table Topic Master for that project because you have to ask questions and listen for responses. I mentioned already in level 1, project 2 is evaluation and feedback. That is comprised of 2 different speeches and 1 evaluation. So that project is not just 1 speech. It's 2 speeches and an evaluation. You give a speech, receive feedback in writing and orally. Then you give that speech again or another speech incorporating the feedback you have received from the first time you gave it or from the first speech. And you also receive written feedback on that. And then you evaluate somebody else and that someone evaluates your evaluation. So that's 3 different things you do in that project. You could also create a blog or a podcast. Those are not speeches. Or you could moderate a panel. So there's example of speeches and non-speeches. All right, let's go down and look at, I'm going to show you a diagram right here that will tell you everything you need to know about pathways. Just look at this diagram. If you mentor someone else, a new person comes into your club, don't try to explain the whole pathways program. It's 11 projects, 11 paths, 65 different projects. So you don't want to go through all those. You just tell them, look, here's pathway. You pick your path. You start on level 1. You do those projects. You move to level 2. You do those projects, and so on. That little diagram is the entire Pathways program at a glance. Now I'm going to go in a little bit deeper. Now, to make it even more complicated, on October 27th of last year, Pathways level 1 was changed. Let me just go. Oh, well, I don't need to go and see it. Level 1 used to be Icebreaker, evaluation and feedback, researching and presenting. Now it's Icebreaker, evaluation and feedback, how to write a speech, and I think it's vocal variety and body language. So they added 2 new projects and they moved 1 project, researching and presenting, to an elective at level 3. You don't need to know all that. Actually, everything I'm telling you today, especially as far as paths, levels, and projects, you don't have to remember because when you open your project, it's all laid out perfectly, logically. I'm just showing you ahead of time what it's going to look like. All right, let's move down. Here's a little summary of what I just said. Look at this note in yellow. No matter which path you choose, you must complete 14 and now 15 after October 27th, 14 or 15 projects that are spread out over 5 levels. That's this diagram here. This is 15 projects if you count them. The old one was 14. Again, you don't have to memorize that because you're forced to do that in Basecamp. And each path has its own set of unique set of 14 or 15 projects, depending on when you get your path. So a lot of projects are identical, and a lot of paths, a couple of the levels are pretty much identical, and 3 of the levels are totally different. Why?
Frank, do you mind if I stop you for a little bit?
Yeah.
Are you supposed to be sharing your screen?
Yeah, you don't see that?
We don't see your screen share.
I wish someone would have said something.
Was seeing it a while ago.
Could you share your screen real quick? You should have permissions to do so.
Can you see that?
Yes,
Who cannot see that?
I see it, Frank.
Okay, I've been sharing.
We can all see it.
Who's talking?
William, you can't see it?
Ed, can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it.
So I don't know what to do for William. William, are you there?
I think everyone can see it now. William texted that he can see it.
Okay. All right, real quick. Every path is unique. Every path is unique. They have some projects that are the same in all paths, but for the most part, it's unique because it's like college. I'm going to go back to college, university. When I was a freshman at Texas A&M, I had to take the same courses everybody else did as a freshman. Basic English, basic science, basic math. It's the same in pathways. When you first start a path, you have to take the basic projects. But when you get to the second or third year, your projects or your courses, second or third level, become unique to your path. Just like if you're an electrical engineer, by the time you start the second year of college or the third year for sure, your courses are related to electrical engineering only. Same in pathways. If you get to the third level, fourth level, fifth level, your projects only relate to the path you've chosen: effective coaching, innovative planning, and so on. All right. I'm going to skip a lot of this because we lost a lot of time. This is one of the most important pages you will have access to. Why? Let me go up here. This is how TI lays out their paths. They'll show you. Here's the path name. This icon represents a path. When you get a badge or certificates, it will have this icon on it, showing which path you are on or have completed. All right, level 1, you see mastering fundamentals. Look here, mastering fundamentals, mastering fundamentals, mastering fundamentals. Same for these 3 paths. It's the same for all 11 paths, which I'll show you shortly. And then learning your style, it could be the same project. If you look here, you'll see most of them are the same, but some are different. Introduction of mentoring, Toastmaster mentoring is the same in all 11 paths. Now the third year or third project level, it starts to be unique to your path. Look here. There are 2 types of projects: required and elective. Required right here, asterisk. So look at this one. It's different and different. So if I looked at all 11, which I will in a second, they'll all be different because those required projects now are unique to your path. Then it says choose any 2 electives. Down here, look at these projects that are required because they have an asterisk. They're all different because they're unique to your path. Choose another elective. Electives could be the same. You see, if you looked at these electives closely, mostly they're identical. You can see this one has an extra, it's a little longer. It doesn't matter because just like in college, you can choose elective. If you're an electrical engineer, I could choose an elective from psychology or biology or history. Same in pathways. You can choose electives that aren't necessarily unique to your path. Now, what I wanted to point out is these kind of charts, and they're like this on the website, the TI website. It just tells the name. You cannot click on it and get any information, which is kind of a drag. That's why I say once you do the assessment, you write the names down and then you come back to this page and you can see every project in detail, which might be helpful before you actually get the path. You're locked into the path or you're paid for a second or third or fourth path. Wouldn't you like to know what it's all about? You cannot find that out on the TI website. Okay, now there are 11 of these. I didn't show them all. And what I did was change it into a interactive matrix. I'm gonna go through this really quick and then we'll go online. Here's the icon for all 11 paths. If you click that, any one of them, it goes back to the Toastmasters website. Here it is, effective coaching. See here it has a similar layout. You see level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if you click this, you'll see the electives. But again, there's no way you can click on these electives or required projects to find out what they're all about. Big drawback. All right, this icon stands for this path, dynamic leadership. So if you click the icon, you click the name of the path, it goes back to that page I just showed you. Everyone goes back to a unique page. Now I'm just going to do a couple so you can see. Icebreaker, look at here, all the same. And they're in yellow because right here, it says if it's in yellow, it is a required project. So every project in level 1 is required. Let's look at level Icebreaker. Now here is an official description sent to me by Toastmasters. This is what the project purpose is, an overview, and what it includes. This is a simple one, Icebreaker. Some of them have a whole page of information. And every project, all 65 projects have their own unique evaluation form. So when you do a project at your club, you're supposed to bring your own evaluation form or send it over Zoom, however you do it. And they're not so easy on the TI website, but they're easy here. So once you find the project, you just look below it, click on it, and you'll see the project right here, evaluation form for the Icebreaker project. If you go over here at the top with an arrow and download it and say with changes, this will be an interactive form. You can see I can type it. So once you type in it, all you do is save it with changes and send it to your speaker. And they have their evaluation form. Every speaker gets a written oral evaluation. And I'm going to show you where to put it in Basecamp. There's a way to save it. In the old days, we just had it in a book. We saved it in the book and we lost the book. Now, if you put it in your feedback file, it'll be there forever. Even if you quit Toastmasters for 20 years and come back, they'll still save your evaluation forms. That's what they promise. Now, I can't go over everyone because I'm running low on time, but you can see here, all yellow, required, all yellow, required. All right, now just one. And look, everyone is different because it is unique to your path. So you pick it, you've chosen your path, so you'll do this required and then 2 electives. Same down here, all required and all different. Level 5, all required, all different. And then there's the last one. It's last here because it's the last project you're allowed to do. You can't even click on the project until you've done all the previous projects. It's called reflect on your path. So once you finish your path, you report to the club about your pathways journey. So those are identical also and required. All right, let me spend 1 minute on this. When you go into Basecamp, you're going to see something, you're going to see exactly like this. It'll say right here, welcome to Basecamp with your name. If it says Frank, you're in trouble. Every one of these white bars is a clickable link. So if you want to view everything you're doing in Pathways, you click here, Pathways and Learning. It'll have your path, your projects, your levels, everything. Speech evaluations can be found here. tutorials and resources. If you have a question, you can go here, type it in. There are PDF files that answer it. There are videos. There are lots of good. This is one of the links you should explore. Go in there and see what it's all about. All right, I have this here in case you forget about what they are, or if you're mentoring someone and you want to tell them what it is, what these are under these links. I had TI send me the definition of what these links mean. So you can see here, a little description, pathways in learning. This is what it means. Speech evaluation, this is what it means. And you can see it has the same icon. This one and this one are the same. So this is just a little tutorial for your, if you forget, or if you want to explain it to other people. All right, let me go to the real live Toastmasters right here. Let's see if I can share this one. All right, everybody can see this. You should have 3 tiles. Can you see that, Pauline?
Yes,
Okay. Now, how did I get here? You log into toastmasters.org. And then you log in. It'll say log in at the top of where my name is. I've gone a little further. I didn't want to do that. You'll log in, then you'll get a login screen where you put in your password, your email, and your password. And then you click on your name at the top. And you'll get to this screen. This is called the profile screen. Why? Because this is a profile about you for the most part. Look here. Name, address, when you joined. This is not right, because their computer doesn't go back to 1986. Your member number, your address, everything. Over here tells how many paths you're working on or have enrolled in. Educational awards, this is since you joined Toastmasters, what they know about you. You can see here, educational awards. All right, let's go. So if you look at your educational awards and they're not all there, you need to contact Toastmasters. Make a Xerox, a photocopy of a certificate or whatever, and send it to them. Other things, that offices you've held in the club, club support, membership history, people you've sponsored, and so on. A lot of information. Now here's 3 of the tiles I kind of mentioned. Remember the Navigator? It's an online tutorial. I'm not going to click on that. I don't have time. This is how you choose your path, the assessment. If you already have a path, then you have to pay $20. That's why it shows here. Otherwise, it's free. First time, you'll get a free path. But to do the assessment, you click here, choose a path. Or you just do 1 or 2 screens because it's kind of tricky. First, you choose your native language, or that you want this assessment in. And then you see you have 2 choices, and this continue button is muted. So you cannot click on it. You can, but it doesn't do anything until you've made a decision up here. It asks you, do you want digital resources or do you want printed? I already told you we recommend digital. So you click that.
Make sure you're all following along in this part. This is the most important part.
Right. Oh, sorry, I clicked on the wrong one. Here, select digital resource. Now you see here, oops. Hang on 1 second. All right, choose a path. I have English. Select digital resources. And now you have another decision to make. Do you want to take the assessment, or do you just want to choose a path without taking the assessment? You can go in, read about all the paths and pick one, or you can do the assessment. Let's say you're going to do the assessment. Now you see the muted button is active. You click on that. It tells you you're about to enter the assessment and what language you want. So see, these aren't really questions. I think some are questions, some are like situations. So it says just select 3 topics you're interested in. I'm just picking 3 because I'm not going to go the whole way. And this becomes active. And then you go follow on. Which of the following topic is most important? Learning about this is blah, blah, blah. So you just go through and read and click. And when you're done, it will recommend 3 paths. It'll show you 3 blocks, like one like this one like this one like this one. It'll have the path name and description. The one on the left, it says is highly recommended, and then the other two are just recommended. So you can choose one of those. If you're not sure, write them down, because I told you once you exit, all of that clicking was lost. It doesn't say what you've done. Okay, that's the assessment. It's pretty easy. Just go in, click on the assessment, and follow along. This one you'll go to virtually every time you log into Pathways. It is called Basecamp. And you'll see here my home club, Northrop Grumman Cavaliers. If you're in more than one club, there'll be a little arrow here you can click on, and it'll stack like a ladder stack the names of your clubs that you're in. I used to be in 5 clubs at the same time, but I'm only in 1 now. I mentor 2 others, but I'm just a member of 1. So the club shown in this window is the club that gets credit for everything you do. If you want another club to get credit that you're a member of, you have to click the arrow, pull down, and click on the club that's shown, and it'll pop up in this window. If you're in 1 club, don't worry about it. Okay, if you're a Basecamp manager, there will be another button right here that says Basecamp Manager, and you'll click that, and you can go into special area reserved only for Basecamp Manager. I'm no longer a Basecamp Manager, so it doesn't show there. So you'll just go to this page, your profile page, and normally just click on Go. Goes into Basecamp. And now you see, you recognize all the things that are in Basecamp. If there's this is a brand new feature called supplemental reading. I left it on here so you can see it. If there's something new they want you to read, it'll pop up here, and you'll see, it'll say there's supplemental reading has been added, and it'll show, once I click on this, let's see, it should show down here, a suggested reading. Let's see. Well, maybe the next time I log in. So it'll show here. It's just some new feature. Okay. So I'm going to spend a short amount of time on these. I'm not going to open most of these. Your documents. I told you can save your evaluation forms or maybe letters you get from the company related to Toastmasters. When you finish a path, you'll get a letter from Toastmasters International. You can save all of those here. I will click just part of it. You'll save them in your My Documents file. You can put documents in level 1, level 2, 3, 4, 5, and other documents. So it's smart to do all your level 1s in level 1, all your level 2s in level 2, or if you want, put them all in one area. It's up to you. But it's easier to do it directly. There's some extra badges, I'm not going to go into today, that you can send each other. If your Toastmaster or speaker for a contest does something exceptional or inspirational, you can send them a badge. I can send you some information about that later. Feedback, if you want to provide feedback, written feedback to someone, another speaker, or anybody in your club, you can do it through there. In the old days, we had little slips of paper we would write notes on and send it to the speakers and other people. This is the equivalent. They're not paper notes, they're electronic notes. Okay, tutorials and resources. I mentioned that earlier. You'll see a whole list of tutorials and resources right here on this side. Now, there's, I think, about 9 languages we're in now. So you can see here, Arabic, French, German, so on. So you don't want to see all those, so you can choose English over here. Somewhere it lets you choose English. I don't see that right now. And then you can narrow that down. And up here on the right, hope you can see this search window. You can start typing about, let's say, awarding, providing feedback. If you want to know how, you can click on that as a video. So you can just type stuff up there. It will give you, once it realizes what you're typing, it'll show you more information. Evaluations. I told you there's an evaluation form for every project. 65 of them are all here. And the last and most important is this. You will come into this transcript virtually every time. Before I leave, show you right here. It says, welcome you to this. And if you want to go back to the Toastmaster profile, you click here. you should know there's two different websites, one for the Toastmasters website, one for the Pathway. They were done at different decades and different companies. They don't really have any interface other than this link right here. And that used to not even be there. You had to sign out of Pathways and log back into Toastmasters. But right now, if you click here, you go back into the normal Toastmasters website. All right. Also, these buttons up here, you cannot click on those buttons. You have to hover, wait for it to pop down. Just a little tip. All right. So you'll come here every single time you want to work on Pathways. 99%. You'll click on this. It's going to contain the transcripts. It's going to contain a lot of things. You see, I have a lot of stuff here. For example, if it's not a set of books represents a path. So you can see 1, 2, 3, or the new supplemental reading. So normally you'll just have one set of books when you first start. As you get more and more involved, you can look at tutorials. They'll appear here. See, accessing certificates, creating visual aid, evaluation and feedback. I was just curious about those projects or those methods of doing things. Those will not appear there until you open one that you're curious about. And it'll stay there until you're done. You can say complete, archive, see here, mark complete, or launch. I put this in my file, but I didn't open it yet. All right, let's just concentrate on a path. Right here, team collaboration. Let's say you're doing this. You go here, you hover, open your curriculum. Now, remember I told you didn't have to remember everything I told you about how many projects there were, what levels you have to do, what order, all that, because it's laid out here. See, this is team collaboration. I'm on level 1, you can see right there. And it has check marks. That means I've completed everything in level 1. If you look over here, I've done level 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The only thing left is this reflect on your path, which is the very last project. Because I've done all the other projects, I have a launch button. If you haven't done all the other projects, there will be nothing here. So you don't have to remember. You just go into level 1, do them. Go into level 2 and do them. Now I always get asked, can you skip around? And the answer is yes, but I don't advise it. The way Pathways is built is every level is built on the previous level. What you learn in level 1 will be used in level 2. And those two things will be used in level 3, 4, and 5. So you could open level 1, do the icebreaker, and then skip to level 5, which doesn't really make a lot of sense. But it's possible. It wasn't maybe 10 months ago, you could only see the level you were on, that you were working on or had completed. That's not true anymore. You can see everything. All right. So what you do is you pick the project. Let's just pick Icebreaker. Remember, they're all laid out identically. If I showed you 5 or 6 of them side by side, you would be hard pressed to immediately identify the differences, but they're totally different, even though they look totally the same. So let's launch the Icebreaker. All of you have either done that or will do that soon, hopefully.
Yeah, Frank, our regular meeting's about to start soon. Thank you so much for your help. Really, really appreciate it.
Give me another minute.
Great session today.
All right. So here's what sometimes it's slow. Let me get set up. Every project will open to a page like this. 3 pictures. They may be different size, or may be different people. It'll have the name Icebreaker. It'll have the level you're on, 1, and it'll have a begin. What you should do is begin and go through page by page. Once you've been in there a few times, you're familiar with it, you can go down here and skip around. You don't have to do it page by page. You want to go to a specific page, you can do that. I want to show you 2 things, then I'll quit. Here, the most important pages in this, 2 of the most important pages. There is an assess your skills before and an assess your skills after, and they are identical in question. What you do is before you do your project, you will assess your skills by clicking on one of these circles, and it'll turn dark. See, I've already done it. Then you'll click next, you'll do it. You keep doing it until it says submit, and you're done. And then after you do your project, you will come to this page. You can hardly see it because it says assess your skills after. It's identical. And once you do this, you see it compares how you felt before the project and after the project. And once you click this button, you get a congratulations, you have finished the project. Many people click that before they give their speech and it says they've gotten credit, and they have, but that's not how you want to do it. You want to give the project, come back here, finish it up, and there's a lot more, but we ran out of time. So I'm gonna
you come back, Frank.
Sure, if anybody, or I could meet with anybody. I'm gonna put in the link 3 things. One, my email, if you have questions. I know this is a lot of information. Then I'm gonna put the page I used as my tutorial today. And then I'm gonna put the website that contains a lot of information.
You're putting that in chat?
Yep, just now. So I'm returning to whoever's in charge.
Okay.
Yeah, recording of this.
Thank you, Frank.
I don't know. So remember, if you have questions, you can email me. Right here is my email and my Pathways website. And then in a second, I'll put in the page I used today, if you want to relook at it.
I just learned something that you all may know already, but if you want to save that information, you can save the entire chat. If you go down there at the bottom of chat and over on the right hand, there's 3 little dots. If you click on those 3 little dots, they'll save it into your computer. I just learned that, so I feel like, okay, I can share that information. That's
okay,
what
don't hesitate to email us. My wife and I are what's called Pathways Ambassadors. We've done over 100 trainings worldwide. So if you have a question, fear not, contact.
Frank regrets telling me that on a regular basis because I'm always nagging him about something. Or what about this, Frank? How do I do this? So thank you very much, Frank, for being here and for doing this for us.
You're welcome.
Okay, bye-bye. You gonna stay for our meeting?
Yeah, I might spy on you. Pick up some good tips.
Nice try, nice try.
What time's your meeting?